How you doing? My name's Tom Greywolf, Thomas Greywolf, and when you look at me, you probably think I'm a white guy, just a regular old white dude. No, that's okay. I'm about to change your perception of that, with any luck. And this is my first video, so don't kill me too much on the comments, alright? My friends, a bunch of friends of mine told me that, with as opinionated as I am, I should start, making a video diary. So every once in a while, I'm gonna go ahead and make a new video and post it. And see, what happens. See who actually pays attention. I hear people all the time, mostly white people, who say we need to just let the past be the past. They say, let's get over it already. It's history. Why can't you let it go? Okay. Well, just to be clear, I'm about two-thirds American Indian. I'm Chickahominy and Mattaponi. And it's not that far back. It's not that far back at all. When you say it's history, really? Just history? Is that why your redneck ass keeps flying the Confederate flag? You fly it on your house, you got it on your car, you got it on your truck, you got it on your ball caps, you got it on your t-shirts, but you say, you guys got to let that stuff go, that stuff's history. Really? It's just history because it's just history to you because it didn't happen to you. Okay? It didn't happen to your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, or you just don't read the news. You're one of these people who actually like watches faux news. Oh wait a minute, is that faux or Fox? No, Fox News. Still faux news, but let's give them their proper name. Has anyone in your family been enslaved? Because slavery still exists. Murdered, raped, or had everything, including their children, taken from them because of their ethnicity? Have they? Have you? If not, then you are nothing more than an uneducated, arrogant, ignorant ass for just blindly dismissing people. You are one of those who think you know something about everything, and in reality, you don't know diddly. Okay? Let's talk about some not so far back history. Okay? Once American Indian territories were incorporated into the United States, surviving American Indians were denied equality before the law and often treated as wards of the state. And there's two things there: equality before the law and wards of the state. Number one. Okay? Number one is they were treated just as blacks were, all the way up until the Civil Rights Movement. I should say, till the end of the Civil Rights Movement. Jim Crow, that stuff that unless you're 20 or 30, wasn't that long ago. So it's not that far back when American Indians couldn't go into white-only restaurants or use white-only bathrooms, right? Then there's that treated as wards of the state. So let me put this in an example that you might understand. Let's say some federal soldiers kick in your front door and come in and take you and your entire family and take you to Spring Grove mental institution. And they lock you up. And they say, well, now you're a ward of the state because you're crazy. Even though you know you ain't crazy. That's a ward of the state, pal. Or Maine. Many American Indians were relegated to reservations, constituting just 4% of the U.S. territory. And every single treaty that American Indians signed with the U.S. government, let's make sure we got that straight, with the white U.S. government, was broken. They've all been broken. And then you wonder why American Indians, Hispanics, which in reality mostly are Indian, and blacks don't trust you. They don't trust you because they know you're going to lie. They know you're going to break your word. I love that old phrase that they used to say when I was a kid, you're an Indian giver. An Indian giver. I guess the other way around. Now, tens of thousands of American Indians and Alaska Natives were forced to attend residential schools. The residential school system, where American Indians, which sought to re-educate them in the white settler American values, culture, Christianity, and economy. I believe it was put to kill the Indian but save the man. You know what they did with these kids? My great grandfather and great uncle as well. These children were taken from their parents just because they were Indian. Can you imagine being ripped from your mother's arms? I tell you what, mom and dad, imagine your child, somebody from the federal government coming in your house and taking your child out of your arms and shipping off someplace you don't even have a clue or can't get to. Think about it. They were sent to places like the Phoenix Indian School. And I want y'all to look these up. The Phoenix Indian School. The Chilocco Indian Agricultural School. That's right, agricultural, meaning farming. The Mohawk Manual Labor School. That's right, manual labor. Places that forced them to cut their hair. If you spoke your own language, you were whooped, locked up, or worse. Children as young as 5 and 6 years old, forced to make shoes, clean your laundry, or farm. That's right, farming. Some for 16 hours a day. Let's think about that. When they come and get your little Tommy, or your little Susie, or Bobby, or Annie, and they come and get them at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or even 12 years old. And they take them to some farm and make them work 16 hours a day tending cabbage and strawberries and broccoli. Think about it. Not a very pleasant picture, is it? But you all say it was history. Children raped and murdered by missionaries, preachers, priests, and nuns alike, used for their own sexual gratification. Some of these schools didn't close until the 1970s. That's right, 1970s. Even now, some of these schools have been revamped and are still operating today. Yet when white people sue the Catholic Church over priests raping little white kids, it makes international news, even when it happened 30, 40, 50 years ago. When some blue-eyed, blonde-haired white girl disappears, it's blasted everywhere. It's all over every news station. But you don't see nary a peep about a native child, or any child of color for that matter. And this is now. Not the past, not then, not history, now. 2 young men from Pine Ridge Reservation are picked up in Nebraska by police. By police, mind you. Just 25 yards from the entrance to the res. They've done nothing wrong. They're not drinking or drugging. They have no criminal record. Nothing. Just walking home from a store. These 2 cops, these 2 police officers, and you're talking to somebody who used to be one. They're taken out to the middle of nowhere in the freezing weather of January. The officers make them strip down to nothing, to their underwear. Make them take their shoes off and tell them they got to walk home. Yeah. Let's pull a joke on the Redskins, right? After being out in the elements for more than 5 hours, a passerby picked them up. Old white man. Thank God for him. He takes them to the hospital. One dies from exposure, while the other spends 3 weeks in a coma because of hypothermia. After the one young man testifies in court, the prosecutor shows the jury the GPS records from the police officer's car. It shows they were more than 42 miles outside of their patrol sector. And the GPS even showed the route the officers took. And it was right in line with where the Good Samaritan picked up these two young American Indian boys. You know what happened? The officers were acquitted of all wrongdoing by an all-white, white clay jury. Further dispossession of various kinds continue into the present. Although these current dispossessions, especially in terms of land, rarely make major news headlines in the U.S. The Lenape people, their recent fiscal troubles have the state of New Jersey trying to make a land grab. They're trying to take their res from them. This doesn't even make it in headlines. Doesn't even make the local headlines. Where they live. Doesn't even make local headlines in New Jersey. Through concessions for industries such as oil, mining, timber, and through division of the land from the Allotment Act. Look that one up, the Allotment Act. It's a real good one. These concessions have raised problems of consent exploitation, of low royalty rates, environmental injustice, the gross mismanagement of funds held in trust by the federal government, resulting in the loss of $10 to $40 billion. That's right, 10 to 40 billion. When you get a chance, look up the World Watch Institute. You can find all kinds of stuff there. The World Watch Institute notes that 317 reservations, 317 are threatened with environmental hazards, while western Shoshone land has been subjected to more than 1,000 nuclear explosions. That's right. The U.S. government has exploded over 1,000 nuclear weapons on Shoshone land. And the U.S. government has done virtually nothing to compensate the tribe or even offer real health care for all the radiation poisoning and cancer. During the George Bush administration, that was a doozy. His administration tried to strip 58 tribes of their federal recognition. 2 of those tribes were in Utah, and threatened with derecognition so that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, along with Halliburton, could again rape tribal lands for uranium. You know, that same stuff that they make the nuclear weapons that they tested 1,000 of. That wonderful thing that when they mine for it, turns the entire water table into a dead zone. In Newport News, Virginia, home of one of my tribes, the Republican governor and state senators make an attempt every single year, to build a dam and reservoir on the Mattaponi River. The reservoir would flood and wipe out the Pamunkey and Mattaponi reservations, as well as the fish hatcheries, in a state that has no drinking water issues. They don't have a shortage of water in Virginia, not even close. And they admit it. They admit it is for purely recreational use, and to build high-end homes around the reservoir. Yet every year for the last 17 years, the tribes are forced to fight them in court to keep their tribal lands. But you say, it's history. This is just a few examples, just a few examples of American Indians who are forced to fight and are forced to engage just to preserve a little bit of their existence and culture. Those same Indians that you go and you pay $6 or $7 to watch dance. Those same Indians that you love to tell people, yeah, I'm a quarter Indian and my great grandma was a Cherokee princess. Yeah. And my name is Chris Kringle. What you want for Christmas? You know, I try not to have any racist thoughts whatsoever. I truly do. And I take everyone for their merit when I meet them, no matter what color they are. But I don't remember anybody inviting the English or the Spanish here. No one invited you here. You didn't discover us. How do you discover lands that already have 3 million plus people living on them? The Spanish and the English, exactly the same. They may have came for different reasons, but they did exactly the same thing. They were pirates, thieves, murderers, and rapists, all in the name of the church and religious freedom. That's right, in the name of the church. Here in Panama, where I live now, here in Panama, where I live with my family, they're getting ready to celebrate 500 years of the Catholic Church and bringing of Catholicism to the New World. Yeah. You know what's in my mind. But in my opinion, I say you, Americans, especially white Americans who all do all this crying and bitching about illegal aliens. If you can't honor your signed treaties, your signed promise, you Indian givers, if you can't honor your promise known as treaties, then I think your lease is up. You all should go back to whence you and your ancestors came. After all, you're the original illegal alien. Right? You are. You're the original illegal alien. We'll share a little story with you, and then we're going to end this. One day before I left Baltimore, this was a couple years back, I was in my car, and I had some salsa cranked up. Right? And, I had it cranked up, but I had my windows up. So I'm sitting at this red light, and you can look it up on like Google Maps or whatever, but I'm sitting at the red light at Patapsco and Washington Boulevard, on Patapsco Avenue. And this truck pulls up with these two red-haired white boys, and I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at the light, and I happen to catch like something out of the corner of my eye, and I look over, and I see this guy's yelling at me out the window. So I turn my music down and put the window down, and he's yelling at me, "Why don't you go back where you came from? Go back where you came from, you spick." Spick. Okay. Look at me. I have American Indians that confuse me for white. So how can you confuse me for a Mexican? But either way, put my car in park. I get out of my car, and I walk around to the front of his vehicle. And I said, "Hey, asshole," and a few other choice words. "Do I look like I'm Mexican to you? Do I look Puerto Rican?" I'm not. I'm American Indian. I'm an original American. So when you say, "Go back to where I came from," I got one question for both of you. Where are your grandparents from? Your great-grandparents from? Well, the one kid on the one side, this is how stupid they are. They actually answered the question. The one says Ireland. The other one says his grandparents are from Germany. His great-grandparents or something like that. I said, really? I said, so why don't you go back to Germany and you go back to Ireland? But if you want to keep continuing this conversation, I'll gladly oblige you. Get out of the truck. And they both looked at me. So I walked around in front of my car. I said, get out of your truck. You two got all that mouth when you think I'm some, Mexican or El Salvadoran or Puerto Rican who don't speak English, right? Get out of your truck. Let's play. Nothing. They had nothing for me. Light turned green. They took off. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. You think it's history? You think it's in the past? It's not. It still goes on every day. So, you keep watching your faux news and your Fox News while the rest of the world, and I do mean the rest of the world, goes past you. And they do. They're passing you. So, you have a nice day. I said my piece. There's going to be more of this because, like I said, I'm opinionated and I got a big mouth. So, hopefully, you'll tune in for the next one. And maybe what I say will have a positive effect on you. If it has a negative effect, oh well. That's your problem, not mine. But hopefully it'll have a positive effect and hopefully it'll make you think. Okay? But in between time, peace, everybody. Peace. Okay? I love y'all no matter what color you are.